Video games are addictive. Addiction is not a funny thing. I've even joked around and have called video games digital crack. I mean, the characters in these games are, for the most part, overglorified serial killers. I mean, they could give Freddy and Jason a run for their money in terms of kill counts. Except for Pokemon, the characters in that are just overglorified animal abusers. But apparently the people of DeviantArt really like drawing these characters after they've been hypnotized. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you my top 10 list of hypnosis video game fans from within the DeviantArt community. The Mind Controller. He has 2.2k watchers, 1.1 M page views, and 3.3k deviations. Roosevelt, I probably butchered that. He has 14.9k watchers, 6.9 M page views, and 1.2k deviations. Trishbot. She has 4.1k watchers, 923.7k page views, and 404 deviations. Singfried028. He has 2.3k watchers, 393.4k page views, and 185 deviations. Hypnoloord X. He has 2.8k watchers, 726.4k page views, and 1.9k Broken Teapot. He has 16.7k watchers, 5.3m page views, and 2.5k deviations. Jim Ryu, he has 8K watchers, 4.5M page views, and 486 deviations. Sayas no Mayas. I hope I said that correctly. He has 2K watchers, 166.1K page views, and 360 VGMC. He has 2.1k watchers, 652.9k page views, and Tangled Penman. He has 549 watchers, 188.9k page views, and 193 deviations.
No time for Omei. During their travels in the Hone region, Ash, his best friend Pikachu, May, Max and Brock had come across a carnival that was set to open in the morning. After watching an impressive display from a magician and his assistant putting together a big tent, the gang decided to take a break from their travels and enjoy the carnival. Everyone was having a great time going on all the rides and eating a lot of carnival food. Whilst walking around, the crew noticed a poster lying on the ground. "Hey, what's this?" asked Ash, as he picked the poster up. "It looks like one of those posters I've seen around the place for the Great Butler's Magic Show," Brock replied. "Hey, that sounds like fun. We should go and see it tonight," said May, getting excited thinking about it. What about you guys? Sure. I haven't seen a magic show in years, Brock replied. I've never seen a magic show. It sounds like fun, said Max whilst chewing on cotton candy. Then let's do it, agreed Ash. I can't wait to see the show. That night the group were enjoying the magic show at the big top. The great butler himself was on stage performing a various amount of magic tricks that got the crowd clapping and cheering. Two clowns would occasionally appear on stage to help Butler set up for his next trick, jumping and cheering each time they came in. After the final magic trick of the night, Butler's assistant Diane and their Pokemon Tina and Curlia presented themselves one last time to thank everybody. You've all been a wonderful audience. Thank you all so much for attending tonight and hope you enjoyed the show, said Butler to the audience. Everyone clapped and cheered louder than before. However, since you've all been so great, there's enough time for just one more trick for tonight. But for this one, I will need 2 members of the audience to come and help me. Now, who would like to have the chance to become magicians? The audience all raised their hands and begged for a chance. Especially May and Ash, who rose from their seats eager to give it a shot. Butler raised his hand in the air with one finger pointing upwards. I think I've found the perfect magicians to help me. I shall choose you and you, he called, pointing towards Ash and Maximum. Whoa, that's awesome. Come on, Max, Pikachu, let's go. Ash cried, leaping off its seat. Sure, replied Max nervously. Ash took his hand and jetted down the stairs whilst Pikachu jumped on Ash's shoulder. May looked really jealous and folded both her arms together tightly. Why do Max and Ash get to go? I wanna be a part of the show too, she grumbled. It should have been me out there. I should be the one to get to perform for Diane, moaned Brock, who, as always, was head over heels for any lady. Typical you, she replied and went back to sulking. Ash and Max got onto the stage where Butler and Diane welcomed them on. Welcome, fellow upcoming magicians. You look like you have a strong passion for show business. With your help, our final trick for tonight shall be one to remember. What are your names, fellow magicians? Asked Diane. My name is Ash and this is my partner Pikachu. Pikachu. Max looked a little shy. My name is Maximum. Great. Then let's get started. Butler called as the 2 clowns came back on stage to present a large box that they opened up. Seeing as you are already great magicians, let's see if you can escape the burning box. The burning box? Ash asked. All you have to do is escape the box before it bursts into flames. I don't think I can, said Max nervously. It'll be fine, trust me, said Diane with confidence. You're magicians now, so you can do it. But we aren't really magicians. The 2 clowns got behind the boys and gently pushed them forward. Yeah, sure, but we aren't really clowns, said one of them, as they continued to push them forward until they were sitting in the box and closed the doors. Dusclops, step forward. Butler called out to one of his Pokemon assistants. Dusclops, it replied as it walked towards the box. The clowns span and jumped their way cheerfully off the stage as Butler began to speak to the audience again. Seeing as Ash and Max are great magicians already, they should have no trouble in escaping this box before it is destroyed by Dusclops' hyper beam. The audience gasped in shock. They will only have 10 seconds to escape before it is destroyed, so let's begin the countdown. Butler began to start counting down whilst Dusclops began to charge up its hyper beam. How are we supposed to get out of here? Ash asked. I dunno. There's got to be some sort of trick to this somehow. I hope, replied Max nervously. The countdown was getting closer to the end and the audience were on the edge of their seat. Especially May, who was chewing on her popcorn fiercely. 2-1. Dusclops, hyper beam, called out Butler. With that, Dusclops fired the beam towards the box. Ash, Pikachu and Max suddenly went downwards inside the box to find themselves in a small room where the floor elevated them backwards. The hyper beam had now destroyed the box, leaving a trail of smoke and bouquets of flowers descending towards the audience, who were in awe. Meanwhile, Ash, Pikachu and Max had stopped moving down below and started to be elevated upwards. The audience cheered as they saw that the boys had managed to escape the box perfectly. Incredible. Not only did they escape the box just in the nick of time, but they made bouquets of flowers appear as well. Just then, Ash, Pikachu and Max were brought back to the top of the seating area. Let's give it up for our new magicians, Ash, Pikachu and Max the Great. The spotlights aimed themselves towards the boys and the audience clapped and cheered for them. Thank you, said Ash cheerfully, with Pikachu thanking everybody back. The boys ran back down towards the stage where Ash waved and thanked everybody once again. Just then a grabbing device appeared out of nowhere and got a hold of Pikachu, dragging it away. Pika, it jolted out as Ash turned around. Pikachu, he cried out as the device formed itself into a ball cage and landed in the hands of the two clowns from earlier up high on a mini blimp. Now that's magic, said the female clown, as Pikachu tried to electric shock itself out of the cage. However, it didn't work and it kept trying again. Your electric attacks won't work in our zap trap. Give it up, replied the male clown. With that, the clowns flipped off their attire to reveal themselves as Jesse and James of Team Rocket. Now on with the show, they both said. It's Team Rocket, said Ash in anger. Give me back Pikachu. For the final trick of the evening, we are going to make all the Pokemon disappear. Jesse said, "Does the net containing my DNA and Curlia D from below the blimp?" The Pokemon tried desperately to get out but just couldn't do it. The best part of the show begins now, said Team Rocket's third member, the talking cat Pokemon Meowth, who activated a switch by the spotlights to open up the big top's roof. He joined the rest of his team as the blimp began to float away. Who's the clowns now? They all said as they began to laugh. We have to stop them, Brock said as he and May were preparing to get up from their seats to help. I'll get M, Ash said, ready to throw one of his Pokeballs. Allow me, Butler said, looking calm and confident. Behold, he called to the audience. For our final performance, we have an encore. Dusclops, Capitata. Dusclops summoned up a blue flame and fired it towards Team Rocket's blimp. One of the ropes came loose and Jessica dropped the cage containing Pikachu as it opened up, freeing it. Ash caught Pikachu just in time before it hit the ground. Pikachu, he said, feeling relieved. What say we have an encore of our own? Pikachu fired a thunderbolt attack hitting Team Rocket, which broke the rope of the net containing Medina and Curlia. The two Pokemon landed on their feet just fine. No magic show is complete without a vanishing act, so we saved the best part for last, called Butler, still making sure he was entering his audience. Dusclops, use Nightshade. Dusclops then fired out a Nightshade attack which sent Team Rocket flying upwards towards the sky. Looks like Team Rocket's blasting off again, they cried, as they soon disappeared. Bravo, the audience cheered, all thinking that Team Rocket was all a part of the show. Looks like those guys won't be back for an encore, said Brock, as he and May clapped along with the audience towards Ash and Max, who cheered happily. Later that night, after all the audience had gone, Butler, Diane and their Pokemon kept Ash and friends behind to thank them for their help. It was no problem, Ash said happily. Thanks for letting us be a part of the show. The pleasure is all mine, gentlemen, replied Butler. I'm sure you'll become great magicians someday. We hope you get to come tomorrow night as well, said Diane. Sure, we'd love to, Max said, not feeling so shy anymore. May was desperate to ask Butler a question and walked closer towards him. Hey, Mr. Butler, sir. Do you think I could be a part of the show tomorrow night? Please, 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 she asked desperately. Well, I shall see what I can do, replied Butler, unsure of what to say. If some of these guys want to be a replacement assistant for you tonight, maybe I could book you a seat with me, Diane, said Brock, trying to make the moves on her. Max grabbed him by the ear and dragged him away. The only assistant she needs is one to keep her away from you, said Max, feeling embarrassed. Diane didn't reply and just looked confused. Butler was deep in thought and then snapped his fingers. Well, I just might have the perfect troll for you, if you'd like, he said towards May. Really, you'll let me help you with the show? She asked excitedly. The next morning, Max, Brock, Pikachu and Diane were outside the tent preparing to help set up for the show. They were waiting for Butler to appear out of the tent so he could show them something. May I introduce to you our newest clowns, Ash and May, he called, as Ash jumped outside the tent. Tada, he called out happily, wearing a big clown jumpsuit with yellow and orange stripes, a big matching hat of the same colors, purple neck collar with big cotton balls and curled shoes. What do you think, Pikachu? Pika, it replied, approving of his look. Just then May appeared, jumping out of the tent, also dressed as a clown. Tadwo, she cried, as she tripped over and landed face first on the ground. Are you okay? Asked Ash, as he helped pick her up. Yeah, I'm fine, she mumbled, feeling totally embarrassed. Her clown outfit was quite different to the one that was previously worn by James. She wore a pink-colored jumpsuit with yellow bow ties, 4 buttons covered in yellow polka dots, white puffy gloves, big red clown boots that curled at the tip with jingling bells attached, a white neck collar and a pink hat with jingle bells dangling off the ends. Her face was colored with white face paint and 2 hearts painted on her cheeks. To top off her costume was a big red rubber nose. You look great, sis, said Max, looking at her costume. Yeah, you really look the part, replied Brock. Thanks, she said, feeling a bit happier. I asked if I could have something a bit cuter from what that creep James had on last night. Well, it suits you nicely, said Diane. You'll be a great clown, I just know it. Just remember to take it easy and do your best, said Butler. I'm sure you'll be able to entertain everybody. We sure will. "Come on, May, let's get ready for when all the people arrive," said Ash, encouraging his friend. "Then," she replied, following him. As the day went on, Ash and May were walking around the carnival, handing out posters to Butler's magic show and doing their best to entertain anybody that came to see them. Ash was really getting into the swing of things and having a great time. He wasn't the best at trying to tell jokes, but he was quite animated and was slowly getting decent at juggling rubber balls. May, however, was finding it a bit hard. Her attempts to juggle resulted in getting hit on the head several times, and she often tripped over when trying to bounce around a lot. Eventually, Ash and May took a quick break after going around the carnival a lot to grab some food and sat down on a nearby bench with Pikachu joining them. Ash noticed that May wasn't all that talkative and looked a bit down. "You feeling okay?" he asked concerningly. "I dunno, Ash. I don't feel like I am really cut out for this job after all," she replied sadly whilst taking a sip of her soda. "Hey, it's okay. You're doing your best and that's what matters. I think you're doing fine." "Thanks, Ash. But I feel I need to talk to Butler about this too. I appreciate your concern, but I just need to make sure this is the right role for me." She got up off the bench and turned towards him. "I'll be back soon, okay? If I take too long, go ahead and carry on. I'll find you." "Sure, okay," Ash replied as he watched May walk off. "I hope she's okay, Pikachu," he said to his buddy. "Pikachu," it replied, feeling worried. May arrived at the big top where only Butler along with his Medina, Curly and Dusclops were inside practicing for the show. "Oh, hello there, May. How is it going out there? Are you being the best clown you can be?" "I'm trying to, sir, but I just don't think this is working for me," she said sadly. "Oh, but why not? I can't seem to get into the rhythm of this at all. I keep falling over. I can't make the audience laugh, unless it involves me being clumsy without intending to be. I can't think of any funny jokes. Maybe I'm just not cut out for this." Butler put his hands on May's shoulders, looking serious. "I'm so sorry this is happening to you. But you should never worry, my dear, because I can help you become the best clown you can be. I know just the thing that can help you." "Really? You know how to help me?" she asked, feeling a bit more hopeful. "Certainly. Why, my good friend Curly here always knows what to do whenever somebody is feeling down." "Curly, we need your help, my friend," he called out towards his Pokemon. "Curly," it replied gracefully, walking over to him and May. "Our clown in training needs your positive energy to help her to be the best clown she can ever be. Could you help her?" "Curly, Curly," it replied, as it looked towards May, telling her that it would be more than happy to help. "Thanks, guys. I really appreciate this," said May, now starting to warm up with a smile. She then kneeled down so it was easier for Curly to be in contact with. "Curly, let's give our friend the help she needs," Butler said, as Curly started to give full eye contact towards May whilst she did the same with Curly. The Pokemon started to slowly champ and wave its hands in a rhythm around her. May kept full eye contact on Curly, making sure to never look away, wondering what it was going to do. Then Curly's eyes began to glow a dark shade of red as it continued to chant. May began to fall into a deep trance and her eyes lost all life in them, never looking away. Butler's welcoming smile soon changed into a more menacing one and began to chuckle. "Oh my dear May, you didn't suspect a thing, did you? I wasn't lying when I said I was going to help you be the best clown you can be. But I'm afraid you're going to be a permanent clown for my show and you'll always obey my every command." He then walked on over towards May, still heavily under Curlia's hypnosis. "Excellent work, Curlia. Your hypnosis never ceases to fail." Curlia was still in full concentration. Butler then looked towards May, ready to speak to her. "Now then, my obedient puppet, you will obey my every command forever. Do you understand?" "Yes, I'm at your command forever," replied May in a lifeless robotic tone of voice. "From now on you are going to be known as Maisie the Clown. You shall always have your abilities heightened to where you are a near-perfect clown who can be acrobatic without fail. You'll be able to effortlessly make balloon animals for all the children. You'll be a great tamer for any dangerously wild Pokemon acts. Be great at slapstick humor, know how to juggle without fail, and be a great assistant in my magic tricks. You will now address me as master, but when around others you shall call me by the great Butler. You will be my clown for life. So then, who am I? You are my master. Who am I when you are around others? The great Butler. What is your new role in life and what is your name?" "My role is to be your clown for life. My name is Maisie the Clown." "Excellent. You are very obedient, Maisie. You shall also allow me to take care of your Pokemon forever too." "Yes, Master, you shall keep my Pokemon forever." "Fantastic. Now then, I want you to test your new abilities as a clown. Climb up that pole there and walk across the tightrope." "Yes, Master." May climbed her way up the pole, ready to start walking the tightrope. Being under deep hypnosis following Butler's orders was actually working at making her have better coordination. She walked across the tightrope effortlessly, not having any trouble at all. "That's incredible, Maisie. Now then, come down here." May made her way back down and walked back to Butler, standing motionlessly waiting for an order. "Now have a little dance using all those jumps and spins you were having trouble with before." May started to dance for him now, pulling off the spins and jumps without ever losing her balance this time. Butler chuckled to himself, feeling proud that he got May the way he wanted her to be. "Well done, Maisie. I think you're just about ready to get back out there and continue to entertain everybody. Now go back out and be the best clown you can be." "Yes, Master." May obediently walked out of the big top off to do what Butler had ordered. Butler chuckled, feeling very proud of himself. "Excellent work, Curlia. The girl really wants to be in the show and be the best she can be, so I think we've done her a big favor. It also helps to have somebody completely obedient around after losing last night's clowns. People have quit being clowns for me far too many times in the past, but that won't happen ever again thanks to you. It couldn't have come soon enough that you would finally learn hypnosis, my faithful companion. The great Butler's magic show shall continue on with no more interruptions ever again." Curlia smiled for its trainer, but deep down inside it wasn't at all happy with what it had been asked to do. It worried for the state of its dear friend. Carnival, Ash was now passing flyers around to advertise 2 shows happening at the Big Tent that night. One was for a circus show and the other was for another showing of the great Butler's magic show. He was also trying to find May, who still had not returned back. Pikachu, who sat on his shoulder, had now joined him, hoping to find her as well. "Still no sign of May, buddy?" Ash asked. It replied with a sigh of disappointment. "I'm sure she's somewhere around here. Maybe she went to grab a snack or something." Pikachu suddenly raised its ears, hearing the sound of jingling bells. It recognized them from earlier. "Pika-Pie, Pika-Pika," it cried out, pointing its hand out forward. "You found her, Pikachu? Where?" He looked on ahead and at long last noticed a familiar-looking clown. It was indeed May, who seemed a lot more acrobatic than earlier. She skipped, spun and jumped around, entertaining people who were passing by. They all were amazed at how flexible she was and were clapping for her. She would also stop for some children and make some balloon Pokemon for them like an expert, despite wearing huge puffy gloves on her hands. She made the kids laugh by squeezing her rubber nose that made a honking noise when pressed. "Whoa, Pikachu, look at her go. When did she learn to get so good that fast?" said Ash, looking in amazement. "Pika." May headed towards them, still with the intent of entertaining people. Ash and Pikachu smiled as she got closer to them. "Hey, May, you're rocking it right now. Way to go." Pika. May didn't even acknowledge them and passed on by continuing to do as she was ordered by her master butler. Ash and Pikachu watched as she skipped away, wondering if she had even heard them. "I guess she's just really into the rhythm of it all right now. Guess we better carry on, buddy," he said. "Hi," Pikachu agreed as the two of them carried on, passing flyers. May continued to entertain audiences throughout the day under the constant trigger in her mind telling her to do everything Butler had ordered her to do. Eventually, she passed by the trailer where Butler was inside having a cup of coffee. He saw May jumping around outside the window and rushed on over to get her attention. "Oh, Maisie, my dear, come on over here for a few minutes, would you?" May stopped on a dime, hearing her master, and walked on over to him, devoid of any life she had been demonstrating before. Her empty, lifeless eyes were fixated on Butler, never looking away as she headed towards him. Butler closed the trailer door and sat back down in his seat. "Now, Maisie, I need to give you some new instructions for some plans that are happening today, as well as improve yourself as a clown. It's so I called upon you, Curly, my friend." He opened up his pokeball containing his Curly, who already knew what to expect when it saw May close up to it. "Curly, we need your help once again to make Maisie an even better clown than before, and to remember the plans for tonight. Do your thing." The Curly agreed, even though it deep down inside it wasn't happy with what it was asked to do. It felt too scared to retaliate against its hypnosis on May again because of how long it had been friends with Butler. But despite how it felt, Curly did what Butler requested and began to use its hypnosis on May. May was in a deeper trance than before now, as the effects of Curly's hypnosis grew stronger on her. "Now, first off, Maisie, I have specific instructions about the circus going on tonight that I need you to hear. One of the performers has grown terribly ill and can no longer be on the show tonight. I need you to take this performer's place and take part in that show tonight. I trust in your incredible abilities and just know you'll be able to put on a great show for everybody. Do you understand what you need to do?" "Yes, Master," May replied robotically. "Fantastic. Next, I will need you to improve your skills as a clown. I forgot to take into account that whilst you have your amazing acrobatic skills along with everything else, you don't seem to show any emotion at all. I know it's hard for you right now in your current state, but I need you to be jollier for me, okay? I have a reputation to keep and I can't let anyone be suspicious about what is going on here. If anyone asks anything about me, you will tell them that I gave you helpful advice to be the best clown you can be. So just enjoy your new life when around others, when I'm not here. When around me, be as monotone as you want. It only proves your loyalty to me. Yes, Master, the more in control Butler felt, the more devious he was beginning to sound. Never before had he ever felt like this, as he loved every single minute. He then got out a watch from his pocket. Now then, Maisie. Go back out there and continue doing what you do best. Only this time you will act a bit more human and love your life as a clown. When the time reaches 5 p.m. this watch I shall strap to your wrist will ring, and that's when you must return to me in this trailer. We need to get prepared for both the circus and my show around that time. Understand? Mr. Excellent. Curlia, that will be enough now, please. Thank you very much. Curlia replied weakly, feeling tired out. Take a good rest now, my friend, Butler said, as he returned Curlia to its pokeball. Now then, Maisie, do you love being a clown? Tell me with some emotion in that voice of yours. Yes, Master. Being a clown is what I was always meant to be. May replied in a jolly tone of voice. She was acting much happier now, even if it was completely forced and the life in her eyes was still gone. Fantastic. Now get back out there and have some fun. Yay, she cheered, as she danced out the trailer heading back to the carnival. Butler chuckled to himself, feeling very proud as he closed the door. Meanwhile, Max and Brock, who were having fun on some carnival rides, had eventually joined up with Ash, who was now out of costume, taking a well-deserved break. After feeling dizzy from a few of the rides, they sat down on a bench to relax. So May must still be going around the place, as a clown has, said Brock, asking on her whereabouts. Yet, she must be, 'cause I haven't seen her most of the day. She took off after feeling down about getting her role as a clown wrong, but she comes back later and now she's showing off tricks I never knew she had in her. It's a pretty amazing switch from what she was like earlier. Pika, replied Pikachu in agreement with him. What kind of stuff was she doing then, Ash? Asked Maximum. I know my sister, and I know she's never been the most flexible person in the world. She was twirling, spinning, and dancing around the place like an expert. She was even making balloon Pokemon like she had been doing it all her life. Whoa, now that doesn't sound like the kind of things she would be doing. Are you sure it wasn't just a different clown? She did have a lot of white face paint on her, and most clowns wear that stuff. It was definitely May for sure. It's pretty easy to tell who it is under that face paint, and the costume was the same one she was wearing. How odd indeed, replied Max, thinking deeply about it. Just then a big pie appeared right before Ash's eyes and slammed right into his face. Pikachu jumped off his shoulder just in time to avoid being hit. Gotcha, cried out a familiar voice, as the boys turned around to see who it was. It was May, who was laughing at her antics and skipped off to continue going around the carnival. May? Hey, come back. Max cried out as he chased after her. Hey May, wake up, followed Brock, as he ran off to catch her as well. Ash just watched in a state of confusion, covered completely in cream pie all over his face. "May, come back here a sec," Max called, as he and Brock continued to chase her. May looked back, giggling, as she skipped and twirled around the place. Eventually, she stopped and kneeled down to Max's height. Max and Brock stopped to catch their breath as May got closer to her brother. Her state of mind didn't even recognize Max as her brother and treated him like any other child around the carnival. "What would you like then, little boy?" she asked in a soft and gentle tone of voice. It's me, May. Ma, I know just what you would like. A special balloon Pokemon just for you." May then took a couple of balloons out of her big pocket and began to start shaping them up into a balloon Jigglypuff. "Here you go, little guy. It's a Jigglypuff balloon just for you." She handed it over to a speechless Max, who was shocked at what she just did. She skipped on over to Brock. "For you, sir, a flower," she said, handing over a single daisy to him. Brock didn't even have the time to react, as May squeezed it and water shot out, hitting him in the face. May laughed at him and fell back on the floor, continuing to do so. It almost sounded genuine, if a bit forced. "Let's play again sometime." "Goodbye now," she said and honked her rubber nose before jetting off. Max tried to hold in, giggling at the noise the rubber nose made. Ash had caught up with them, with most of the cream pie now off his face. "Hey, guys, did you find her?" Yeah, we did," replied Max, just looking confused. "I guess she's super into her role now," replied Brock. "I can't understand how she got good enough to be that acrobatic and make amazing balloon Pokemon in just a short span of time. Maybe she has been keeping that talent hidden after all?" Max pondered. "Whatever it is, she's pretty good at being a clown now. Hopefully, we can meet up with her later and ask about it," said Ash. "Hey, wait a sec," said Brock, who just remembered something. "There's that circus happening tonight at the tent before Butler's next magic show. Maybe she's going to be taking part in that tonight as well." "Good thinking, Brock. We'll watch it tonight and see if my sister shows up," replied Maximum. "She's probably really busy getting ready for it later on." "Sounds like a plan then," said Ash. "Let's head on over there tonight and catch up with her afterwards." As expected, with May continuing in her role she was forced to play without ever taking a break. She showed no signs of stopping, unless she was ordered to. Eventually, the clock struck 5 p.m. and May headed immediately back to the trailer, as instructed. She quickly arrived and opened the trailer door where Butler was waiting. "Maisie, welcome back," he said happily. Like a flick of a switch, the jolly and cheerful May went back to acting like her previous monotone robotic state of mind. "Now then, let's head on over to the tent. The ringmaster of the circus is awaiting us." "Yes, Master." They both made it to the tent where the ringmaster awaited. Hello there, Butler, and your partner Maisie, is it?" "Hello there, sir, and yes, this is indeed Maisie," he replied and shook his hand with the ringmaster. May remained in a lifeless state, staring blankly at the ringmaster. "Don't be shy now, my dear, say hello," Butler told her in a friendly manner, even though to him it was an instruction. "Hello," she replied, now switched back to being jolly. "Why, hello there to you as well. Thank you so much for helping me out tonight. We could really use your help." Leave it to Maisie, sir. She'll put on a show in the likes you have never seen before. Minnie, she's so good that all she will need is just one practice run. Why, she'll be asked for an encore, I just know it. Fantastic. So then, Maisie, let me show you exactly what you're going to be doing tonight, said the ringmaster. I'll stick around, if that's okay, said Butler. Maisie might want me around for some encouragement whilst you teach her. That's fine with me, replied the ringmaster with a smile. As he began to show May the acts she would be doing, Butler chuckled to himself. He felt proud that the ringmaster had no idea on what he had done to May to get her where she was now. The evening arrived and the circus was just about to begin. It was a full house with not a single seat left open. Ash and the gang waited patiently with popcorn in hand, waiting to see if May was going to show up. The lights then dimmed and the ringmaster appeared in the center of the tent with the spotlight shining down on him. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to tonight's circus. We've got a great show lined up for you all tonight, so prepare yourselves for some spectacular acts. So without further ado, let's get on with the show. The audience clapped as he left the ring and the acts commenced. The show had a variety of acts throughout, such as the human cannonball, artistic cycling, fire dancing, Pokemon taming, much more. The crowd were in awe watching the highly trained professionals show all their skills. So when do you think May is gonna show up? Max asked. Probably towards the end, I would assume. It's just gone past the halfway point and still no sign of her, replied Brock. Well, whenever she shows up, seeing what she's been working towards should be good, said Ash, hopeful of seeing her. Before the next act began, the ringmaster appeared again. Before we begin our next act, I'd like to inform you all that sadly one of our performers couldn't make it tonight, as she has fallen ill. But never fear, because a very kind volunteer has stepped in and has shown us some truly amazing skills. Prepare to be amazed, because it's going to be spectacular. Butler, who watched from the shadows, chuckled to himself. Oh, they will be indeed. My creation is going to be a hit. I can see the money just rolling in now, he said to himself quietly. The lights dimmed as the next act began. It started out with a man acting the role of a boy sitting down on the floor looking sad. The spotlight shone on him, showing the audience the sadness he was conveying. He had a big colorful bouncy ball and was playing by himself. The speakers played the sound of children playing together, which was telling the story of a lonely boy who had no friends to play with. Just then something from above was slowly descending from above the tent, and the actor looked up as well as the audience. It looked like a person descending downwards in a recognizable clown jet that the audience remembered throughout the day. Ash and friends gasped as they now realized who the person was. There was May descending down the tent, attached to a system of pulleys and straps like a puppet. Max said as quiet as he could, "It's definitely May." May was playing the role of a clown marionette as part of an acrobatics act where the story was about a puppet becoming friends with a lonely boy. The pulley system put May on the ground and she walked to the actor stiffly like a puppet would walk. She tapped the actor on the shoulder, which prompted him to turn around and be shocked by her. May had the permanent smile fixed on her face and seemed to never blink, keeping in character of what a puppet would be. The pulley system raised her up and she began to twirl around in midair in a series of impressive acrobatics. She was put back on the ground and raised her arms out stiffly and was trying to tell the actor without any dialogue to throw the ball to her. The actor did just that and they both began to throw the ball back and forth, with May doing more acrobatics whilst she played with him. The actor playing the boy was showing happiness and was often being playfully tricked by May's antics. She would make him think someone was behind him or even pretend to not give him back the ball. Her antics made the audience laugh except for Max, who was more fascinated than anything else. Then the pulleys were dragging May back into the air as she waved goodbye to the actor. The actor didn't want her to go and pulled her back down and removed the straps connecting her to the wires, as if it were to break her free from her strings. May collapsed to the floor and sat motionless for a few seconds. She then jolted up on her feet and began to dance around the stage. She did her series of twirls and spins and even interacted with some of the audience as she skipped on over to the seats. She then got on a nearby unicycle and juggled some balls whilst she rode on it. The audience clapped and cheered loudly, feeling impressed with her skills. Ash, Brock, Max and Pikachu were speechless as they watched in amazement. Okay, she could never have done this before. How on earth is this happening? Exclaimed Maximum. No idea, but this is nuts. How on earth is she this good? Ash replied, with Pikachu replying afterwards. I officially have no explanation anymore, said Brock, struggling on finding the words to say. To end the act, May pointed towards the tightrope up above, showing the actor what she was going to do next. She climbed up the pole and started to walk across the tightrope like an expert. The audience continued to cheer whilst Ash and friends had their jaws wide open in complete disbelief. May then stood on one foot and spread her arms out to keep in balance. The smile never left her face and was still constantly making sure she pleased Butler and the ringmaster. She eventually came back down and danced towards the center of the ring. May honked her rubber nose just in time, with the ending of the circus music playing in the background, thus ending the act. The audience stood up from their chairs, clapping and cheering louder than ever. Ash and the others couldn't even muster to get up at all, still in amazement at what they had just seen their friend perform. The ringmaster headed back onto the stage and stood next to May. Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for Maisie the Clown, he cried. Maisie the Clown, Max called out in shock. That must be her stage name. Brock replied. Never expected that, but it in the works, I guess, said Ash. Pikachu agreed. What an amazing performance, folks. Look forward to seeing Maisie once again tonight at the Great Butler's Magic Show, where she will be his trusty assistant. Give it up once more for Maisie. The audience's cheers got louder than ever, and Butler, still in the shadows, felt very pleased with May's performance. Fantastic. She's turned out just the way I wanted her. There is absolutely no way I'll be giving her up now. That girl is fully under my power and nobody suspects a thing. Maisie is a gold mine that I will keep forever. He started to laugh to himself manically at his success, unheard by anyone through the loud applause. He was dead set on making Maisie a household name for the rest of his career. Keep it up, cried Stella, the ringleader of the Pokemon circus that had arrived in Petalburg City. Stella was known for being rather rough, when it came to her training, but she was a kind soul deep down. Her circus was well known across the Kanto region, and she now wanted to expand the show over to new regions around the world. She watched her crew train the Pokemon for their acts, which got her excited to put on a show for the people of Petalburg in 2 days' time. Her Mr. Mime walked into the tent to meet her. "Have you finished putting the posters up around town?" "Mime." "Great. Thanks, Mr. Mime. Our grand tour of the whole region will get off to an amazing start soon enough, Mr. Mime. So make sure that you all train hard today," she said to all the Pokemon and staff. "We only have today and tomorrow to practice, so let's get cracking." "Roger," replied her crew with their Pokemon. Happy with everyone's progress, Stella walked outside of the tent heading towards her trailer, when suddenly she heard the sound of somebody in the distance yelling along with the sound of bells jingling. "What on earth is that?" The figure came into view in the distance, who turned out to be May. She was trying to ride on top of a big blow-up ball, but it was spiraling out of control as she tried to stay on it. "Watch out! Coming through," she cried as she headed straight towards Stella. The ringmaster dodged out of the way as May rode into the tent and crashed into the seats inside. She ran back in to check up on her with the rest of the staff and their Pokemon staring in confusion. "Are you all right?" Stella asked as she helped May up. "Totally," she replied with a weak laugh due to the pain. "Wait. You're a clown?" "Yep. I'm Maisie. Maisie the clown, taking the stage." May squeezed her rubber nose at the end, which made the staff giggle. Stella stood there unsure of what to say. "I see. Well, what are you doing here?" "I saw your circus and I just had to come and check it out. I'm aiming to become one of the greatest clowns someday." "Oh, please, will you let me help you out?" "Oh, please, may I? I love the circus. I live and breathe the circus." The other female staff watching found her passion quite charming, but Stella still wasn't sure what to think. "Oh, go on, Stella, why not give her a chance?" said one of them with her Dodrio, who agreed. "What? Yeah, why not?" said another with her Machamp. "She certainly looks the part at least and seems super friendly too. I'd be happy with her having a go," replied another with a Tangerine Executor. May closed her hands together, begging for an answer. "Well, looks aren't everything, Maisie. This is a Pokemon circus after all, so you'd need some Pokemon as well." "Oh, I have plenty of those." She reached into her pockets and took out her Pokeballs. "Come on out, everybody." The balls opened up and out came May's Blaziken, Beautifly, Skitty, Bulbasaur, Eevee and Squirtle. "Meet my friends here." May's Pokemon turned around and jumped at the sight of their trainer wearing the clown outfit again. "Your Pokemon seem a little spooked," replied Stella. "Oh, don't worry. I wanted to surprise them by getting into costume without them knowing. I knew you guys would like it." Her Pokemon looked confused by what was going on, so they tried their best to go along with it by agreeing with her. "Well, you do seem to have quite the selection of Pokemon. You look the part. However, that little display on the ball I saw just now tells me that you came off the training wheels too early. We only have 2 days to go before the show, and you have a show in 2 days?" May grabbed Stella's hands and bent down on the floor looking excited. "Oh, please let me join." I'll work in my very best without stopping. I promise. Go on, Stella, said the other girls. Give Maisie a chance. Stella wasn't one to let in newcomers in so quickly before a show. She was one who liked to make sure she was working with trained professions, but the look on May's innocent face made her cave in. All right, then, Maisie. You can help. Hooray. Thank you so much. May happily jumped up and down with delight as she turned to her Brookhaven. Let's do our best, everybody. Her Brookhaven pretended to be excited as they worried about what could happen next. What on earth am I doing? Stella sighed, wondering if she had made the right choice. So where do we start, Stella? All right, then, Maisie. Since you and your Brookhaven are new here, we'll have to begin training right away, as we don't have much time to train you. You must be willing to work as hard and as fast as you possibly can. Got it. Stella reached for her pocket to reveal a big black whip that she pulled on to test it. Maisie and her Brookhaven started to feel a little uneasy, as Stella gave them a stern look. What's the whip for? If you want to join the circus, then you better prepare for some rough training, young clown. Hi-ya, she cried, striking the ground with her whip close to Maisie, which gave her a fright. Good luck, Maisie, said one of the staff quietly, knowing May would be in for a rough time. Pick up those balls on the ground and get juggling, commanded Stella, whipping the ground. Why, yes, ma'am, replied May, grabbing them in a flash and began to try and juggle. It was off to a bad start, as she kept on dropping the balls very quickly. No, that's not good enough. Put more feeling into it. Hi-ya. Cried May, as she continued to juggle until she got the basic rhythm down. Now throw them to your blaziken so it can follow on from you. All right. Pressured easily, May threw them to blaziken, but with bad aim. Lots of more whipping and harsh training continued for several hours, which proved to not be the kind of welcoming May had expected. So how did I do? May asked, gasping for air, as she lay on the ground exhausted along with her Brookhaven. You have much to learn, Maisie, replied Stella, not showing any signs of going easy. If you want to join in the show, you and your Brookhaven will have to try out every possible act available. That way we can find what you are best suited for. 10-minute break. I'll be back after to continue your training. Stella walked out of the tent, giving May and her Brookhaven a chance to catch their breath. You guys are doing just fine, said one of the staff, walking up to her. Stella's training is rough, but it's all because she wants you to be at your best. Don't let it put you off, said another. We all got similar treatment, but at the end it worked out. It's much harder than I thought it would be. May replied, taking a sip of bottled water handed to her by the staff. But I'm not giving up yet. We're gonna knock it out of the park in no time. Right, guys? Her Brookhaven agreed nervously. So what made you want to become a clown, Maisie? What drives your passion to perform? This surprisingly was a question May found tricky to answer. I don't know. I guess I just do. Her Brookhaven were surprised to hear this, as they always knew their trainer as a Brookhaven coordinator who had never before wanted to be a clown. They hadn't been aware of the time May was hypnotized into being a clown once by Butler a long while back. I see. How long have you and your Brookhaven been at this for? One of the girls continued to question. I'm not sure. I've always been who I'm from the beginning. This got May's Pokemon to have their own group discussion about what was going on whilst she was busy speaking with the staff. "Is she okay?" asked Bulbasaur in its native language. "She's acting strangely." "Why doesn't she remember our contests?" asked Eevee. "I've never seen her look like that before," said Squirtle. "Her nose is big and red too. Maybe she got stung by a beedrill on the nose and it's making her act different," said Beautifly. "Our trainer wants to be a clown, I think it's called," replied Blaziken. "There may not be much we can do for now, except to go along with this until we can discover what's wrong." "I suppose you're right, Blaziken. You and I have been with May the longest and it's clear that she isn't the same. What's your opinion, Skitty?" But Skitty was running around the tent playing with the juggling ball and not even listening. "Skitty, get over here," said Bulbasaur, looking annoyed. "This is a serious situation." "Let Skitty be," Blaziken told it. "You know that she can't resist anything round-shaped." "Your Pokemon seem to be quite the little family over there," said one of the girls, observing them. "I wonder what they could be talking about." "These guys are my best friends," replied May, looking over at them happily. "Together we're gonna do great at this Pokemon circus." "Oh, but wait a minute." May observed them closely, which gave her Pokemon an awkward feeling. "You guys aren't dressed for the occasion. We have to get you all as clowns too." The Pokemon gasped with shock. "We have a trailer outside where you can dress up your Pokemon, if you want to use that, Maisie." "Sure. Come on guys, let's go," she replied happily, as she ran on over to get her Skitty. "Come on now, you can play with the ball later. Play with some of my jingling bells instead." Skitty immediately hit the bells on her collar several times and didn't want to stop. "Come on guys, don't get left behind," she called back to them. "Guess we have to do this," said Blaziken with a sigh, as it along with her other Pokemon followed. After a lot of fuss, May arrived back in the tent with her Pokemon all either wearing costumes, had their faces decorated, or a mix of both. Tattoo. May cheered, introducing them to the staff and Stella, who was looking a little impatient. "Oh, they all look so cute," said one of the girls. "We have to take a picture of you with your Pokemon together later," said another. "10 minutes late, Maisie," said Stella with a stern tone in her voice. "Sorry, Stella," replied May, trying not to let Stella make her nervous. "I had to get these guys dressed up as quickly as I could. Less time worrying about fashion sense and more time training. Come on now." She slammed her whip onto the ground, which immediately got May nervous again. "We're gonna get you into the true spirit of a clown. Get ready to let out the prankster in you." Oh, I can't do that. I'm quite the silly clown." "Then show me a prank with your Pokemon involved." "Right." May was thinking fast on what kind of prank she could pull off. "Squirtle, come over here a sec." "Squirtle?" it asked, clarifying that she was talking to it. It walked on over and May picked Squirtle up to whisper something in its ear. "Okay, we ready." Squirtle, it replied, feeling confused. "Then come on and show me. I expect this prank to be funny enough for you to pass." May put Squirtle down and walked back several steps before beginning the act. She and Squirtle walked on up to each other, with May skipping her way over. The sequence was done without any words spoken, as May and Squirtle gave each other a wave to say hello. May turned around and picked a flower out of her pocket, which she then prompted Squirtle to give a sniff. As Squirtle got close up, May squeezed it tight with a cheeky grin on her face, hoping it would shoot water at Squirtle's face, which didn't happen. She looked confused and tried to squeeze it multiple times, which led to Squirtle give off a cheeky look as well. It used body language to ask its trainer if it could give it a try. May handed over the flower and Squirtle squeezed the flower whilst firing water out of its mouth to blast May in the face. May toppled over and the staff watching chuckled to themselves whilst Stella was too busy reviewing the act. May shook her face left and right to get rid of some of the water and looked on over to Stella. Done. What do you think? Predictable, but decent enough for a first try, Stella commented. Thanks. Alright then, Maisie, next will be tightrope. I wanna do that. The Pokemon were shocked. Tightrope, replied Stella surprisingly. You could hardly balance on a ball earlier. I'm not sure that's the best thing to do as of yet. That was just a small slip-up. I can balance real good, you know. I did so the other day in town. I can't let you, Maisie. I can't risk any performers getting hurt, and it that usually sits below the tightrope broke not long ago and we haven't been able to replace it yet. So you better not try it under these circumstances, Maisie. Maisie? Stella noticed that she was gone. She turned around to notice May had already started climbing up the pole to reach the tightrope. Hey, stop. Get down from there. Oh no, cried May's Pokemon in their languages, as they watched May already reach the top. Don't worry, everybody. I'm super good at balancing. I'll make you all proud. Get down from there this instant, cried Stella angrily. I'm not risking you getting injured. I won't. Promise, she smiled back, which only got everybody else worried. May started to walk the tightrope as slowly as she could whilst spreading her arms out to balance herself. We have to get her down, said Beautifly to her fellow Pokemon. Where's Skippy? Asked Bulbasaur, looking around. It looked up to notice Skitty was climbing up the pole to follow May as quick as it could. Oh great, cried Blaziken in shock. Skitty's got its eyes on those bells on May's clothes again. Of all the times, Skitty. We have to stop it. But Skitty had already got on the tightrope and was carefully making its way to May. Oh hey Skitty, said May, as she looked behind her. You want to join in too? But looking behind her was where it all went wrong, as she started to lose her balance. Maisie, cried the staff in fright. Whatever you do, keep that balance, called Stella, getting stressed out. But the pressure didn't help May, as she finally lost her footing and began to fall. Oh no, the staff looked away, unable to watch. I got it, cried Bulbasaur, as it launched its vines to grab May just in time. Blaziken jumped up high and grabbed Skitty to save it. Both Pokemon put their friends back on the ground with a sigh of relief. Thanks, guys, replied May, still keeping up her positive attitude. That was a close call. Skitty happily ran over to her and started playing with the bell attached to her right boot like nothing had happened. You better be lucky your Pokemon were there to save you, said Stella with a sigh of relief. But your actions were foolish. Clowns are meant to be silly, but there's a difference between being silly and stupid. Sorry. I'm just trying my best. Well, don't let me catch you doing that again. You're still a rookie, so you won't be able to do everything at once. Stella turned around to the rest of her team. Everyone take a break for a little while before we move on. She walked out of the tent with a heavy sigh. Don't scare us like that again, said the staff walking up to her. We seriously thought you'd injure yourself. I'll be fine. No worries. I suppose there really is no stopping you. Your enthusiasm is actually kinda inspiring when you aren't being reckless. I got to try out another act, she replied, showing no signs of stopping. Now what could I do? It's okay to take a break, you know. I only have a few days to prepare. I'm gonna keep going. May ran around the tent looking for something she could do. That girl is like on autopilot, said one of the staff to her fellow colleagues. She's quite the character. Hey, what about these? May called, pointing towards a pair of wires and straps lying on the ground. Oh, those are used for aerial straps acts. They don't get used anymore, since there's not much for both performer and their Pokemon to do together with them. It's a Pokemon circus after all, so both trainer and Pokemon need to do work together. I just got an idea for these. May replied excitedly, putting her hands together. What did you have in mind? Within most of their break time, May had put together a little setup. She had placed 9 of the straps around her arms, wrists, knees, and feet, and the wires attached to the straps were connected to a series of planks to form a marionette controller. How about this? She said, clenching her fists with excitement. Why don't I put on an aerial straps marionette act? My Blaziken is gonna sit down the platform all the way up there and use the controls to move me around. That way the aerial straps act can have both trainer and Pokemon work together. Blaziken was as surprised as everyone else. Well, it's certainly something this circus has never did before. Are you sure this would work? Can't hurt to give it a try. Come on, Blaziken, let's do this. BL Blaziken, it replied hesitantly, as it took the controls and climbed up to the platform. The higher Blaziken climbed, the more that the wires were slightly pulling May back, and raised her arms slightly until the point when the fire Pokemon sat down. Anytime you're ready, Blaziken. With a nervous nod, Blaziken began to move the controls around to make May move. The springy nature of the wires made her bounce up high as she floated around in the air. Everyone watched as May's arms and legs were moving about all over the place randomly due to Blaziken having never done anything like this. This is so fun, she cheered happily. I'm a pretty wacky clown puppet. After a mess of moves, May used some of her own force to do a graceful twirl in midair and continued to do it until the wires tangled her all up. Blaziken tried its best to spin her the opposite direction, which untangled the wires and spin her around very fast, until she stopped. Wow, I feel dizzy, she said with her tongue hanging out. Girl, said one of the staff, with the others nodding their heads in agreement. Don't feel left out, she called to her other Pokemon. Come over here and you can dance with me one by one. They were hesitant about it and talked amongst themselves about who should go first. No need to be shy, guys. Come on. Eevee was picked to go first amongst the group, so it walked on over to May, where Blaziken made her kneel down and reach her arms out to Eevee's front paws. The little Pokemon grabbed onto May's hands nervously, whilst May herself smiled at it happily. Go on, Blaziken, she called, as it carried on to make her move. May's legs were skipping on the spot as Evie tried to copy her moves using its back paws. "Got to say, that's pretty cute," said the staff girl. "Yeah, you are right about that. This is beginning to make my heart melt a little." Just then Stella returned into the tent and froze in place watching May's act. "What on earth is this?" she said with the most baffled look on her face. "All right, Evie, ready for a big jump," said May, trying to get it hyped up. Evie jumped. May used her own force this time to take a big leap into the air, which was followed by her doing a forward spin. Evie cried out with fright, holding onto May's hands for dear life, hoping not to fall. This was messing up Blaziken's grip on the controls, so it panicked and tried to frantically move around to regain control. But disaster struck as May was being flung all over the place and almost crashing into her payment and the staff. "Maisie, you have to stop this now," cried Stella. "Look out," she cried, as she was now heading straight towards Stella, who managed to dodge her just in time. The wires were now pulling her back where she was heading straight towards the pole. Uh-oh, Evie finally managed to jump away from May's hands before she slammed face first into the pole, causing her rubber nose to squeak in the impact. Blaziken had also dropped the controls, which smacked down on May's head as she landed on the ground. "That's got to hurt," said a member of staff. Everyone went on over to check if she was alright, which to nobody's surprise had not put the dent on her positive attitude. "That was so much fun, minus nearly hitting everyone." "Goodness. You're not hurt too bad, are you, Maisie?" "Face is a little sore, but I'm totally fine," said Blaziken, feeling ashamed of itself. "Oh, don't feel bad. You did a great job. Together we made a great team. You also did a great dance with me, Evie." Evie replied, feeling too dizzy to think straight. "I leave the tent for a break and there you are getting yourself into trouble again," said Stella, sounding quite annoyed. "Though I must admit that act was creative." "Thanks. But it was messy. You and Blaziken are clearly inexperienced, so that act is too risky to do for an actual show. I won't be allowing it on the night. Oh, it's been a busy day for us all. I think we are gonna wrap things up for now. You've been working hard, Maisie, so you need to rest up." "Okay then. I see potential in you and your Pokemon. But you clearly have a lot to learn. So you better rest well tonight, because I will continue to train you hard until you all can get a few acts down before the big show." "You got it, Stella. Thank you again for letting us be a part of this show. It's been my dream to do something like this." "Pleasure. Now run along and get some rest. You live in the area, right?" "I sure do." "Great. Safe travel home then." May turned towards her Pokemon, feeling proud. "You guys all did amazing. You all deserve a good rest." She got out their Pokeballs and returned them back. "We look forward to seeing you tomorrow, May," said the staff. "Me too. See you later." She removed the straps still attached to her and ran out of the tent, which, for Stella, was a huge sigh of relief. "I think I'm more tired than she is. I still hope I won't regret having her take part in the big show. It's like you said, Stella. She has the potential to be a showstopper. That positive attitude of hers is really quite delightful. Well, let's just see what tomorrow brings." She looked at the marionette setup left behind on the floor and was thinking about it. "Maisie, what a goofball. A smile came to her face, as deep down she wanted May to succeed. Dark out, as May returned back home. As she headed towards the front door, she saw a piece of paper lying down under the doormat, which she picked up and read. As we were all feeling quite tired, we have gone to bed early, so please be quiet, if you can, when you get home. Your Monklax has been well behaved and is now sleeping too. Max did a great job looking after it. Anyway, we will see you in the morning. Signed, Mum and Dad. I didn't know I had parents. That's neat. She quietly opened the door and tiptoed as quietly as she could, which was easier said than done considering the bells on her clothes were jingling with her every move. She made it into her room and put up a door sign outside saying sleeping. Please don't disturb. Wow, I'm tired, she said, whispering to herself. I'll just tuck myself into bed and call it a day. Without changing her clothes, May got into bed and quickly fell asleep, thinking about the fun day she had. All that was on her mind was becoming a great clown, until she dozed off into her dreams. Next morning, May awoke to the sight of her alarm clock and noticed that it was far later than the usual time she would get up at. Man, I feel so exhausted. Was I dreaming about meeting Alex yesterday or what? I can't remember how that dream ended. Guess I might as well get up. May stretched out her arms, suddenly hearing a familiar sounding jingle. Not again. She pulled the covers off her bed to notice the clown costume. Why, she then looked at her mirror to notice her rubber nose and white face paint. Why has this happened again? May immediately got out of her costume and quickly put on her usual attire in a panic. Ugh, I should just throw this thing away. I feel like I'm sleepwalking into this or something. But before she went out of her room to throw the whole thing away, she couldn't stop looking at it and remained silent for a little while. I should put this back in my wardrobe. Without thinking, May stored it away and left her bedroom, not thinking twice about it. Even though at the same time she was still freaked out about just what was happening. Am I losing it? Who even knows anymore?
VGMC. He has 2.1k watchers, 652.9k page views, and don't worry, because there will be more. I did say in my top 10 Genifications deviantartist list that I would be making more lists like this in the future as the means to expand on this type of video.